Hi, everyone. I'm Colleen. I'm here with my friend Richard Malette, who is an astrologer. And today we're going to talk about walking the talk using astrology. So we're going to dive into the full moon that's coming up, the full moon in Libra that's coming up on April 12th, and how that's going to affect the energies. But then we're going to talk about how, like, what this channel is all about, how to integrate spiritual information into your everyday life, like down to earth practices or things that you can use to make decisions or have a better day or move your spiritual life forward. And Richard has a lot of enlightening information about that. So I'm really looking forward to this discussion. Richard, thanks for joining me.
It's a huge pleasure for me to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. Very excited.
Awesome. So let's talk about walking the talk with astrology. There's so much information in the whole study of astrology. How do we use that and this upcoming full moon to walk the talk?
Walk the talk. I love that, and I love that you said down to earth as well too. We're both very earthy, Colleen and I, and we'll talk about that maybe in a moment, how our astrology is so connected. And
Mhm.
For me, astrology and spirituality have always been interconnected. So I weave them both all the time, and it informs the other. And so, spiritually, I've been spiritual, I think, first most, and then astrologer after that. And
Oh,
I pray every day. That's one thing I love to do. I set intentions. And I believe very much in sending love energy out there. So we're on the same wavelength for sure. And so with astrology, using it in a very beautiful, spiritually uplifting way to just empower people. And so walking the talk, I consult my own chart. Often I will
oh,
find myself, okay, right, I'm a Taurus with Capricorn rising and Moon in Cancer as my basic kind of big threes. We
mhm.
call them the big three. And so I kind of remind myself about that to take it easy in life because Taurus is about peace and is keeping it simple. I love that philosophy. And my Capricorn rising keeps me honorable and like saying yes to responsibility. And so saying yes to opportunities when they come and being in my integrity. I know that's strong in you too.
Mhm.
My moon in Cancer, for example, that's really important. Your moon sign is very important. And knowing when I learned that years ago that I had the moon in Cancer and how gentle that is. It's very, very gentle.
Oh,
It's very, very nourishing, very strong on the divine feminine side. And
mhm.
Capricorn is strong on the divine masculine side. So it's reminding me to flow back and forth between them as needed. And in my work, I work with a lot of women, and so the divine feminine is strong, and my sensitivity is strong, and I've always been that way. And
Mhm.
knowing that in my chart was like, okay, to really own that more and really
Right.
embrace it.
Cool. And so you use that and like how else do you walk the talk?
Oh gosh, well, going for walks in nature like you do,
Mhm.
that's really, really powerful,
Oh,
so important. For every earthy person, that's really, really important. So going out in nature, super beautiful, praying. One new thing, I don't even think I told you this before, I'm into Qigong now.
oh, yeah.
So it's a moving meditation, and it's really helping me to get even more strong and comfortable and in my body too. Again, coming back to the earth magic of being strong in the earth, really, I'm like, okay, what can I do to really be more it's like stronger and happier and healthier in my body? That's one thing that came along, and the teacher is a friend of mine, and I'm like, okay, I'm taking this course. So I'm actually halfway in this course right now and doing Qigong every day. So that's been wonderful as well.
Oh, that's cool. I might look into that. I've been thinking about that, about how, other than all my time that I spend in nature, that's about the only physical spiritual practice I have. It's all the rest is in my head or my heart or my energy. Qigong, eh? I might
Mhm.
think about that.
Yeah, Qigong and yoga. So, I was very sporty when I was younger. And then when I actually got into my spiritual path, this often happens. I think the spiritually opening people, we get
Mhm.
really into the spiritual realms, but it's so important to come back into the body and anchor that to embody spiritual energy into our body. So I'm really walking the talk with that more and more.
Yeah, and bring it into your 3D life. I get it. Interesting. Cool. So I guess, like you talked about the big three, I guess it's important in for everybody, for viewers, with figuring out how to walk the talk with astrology. I mean, I know that I had a couple of readings with you of my whole chart, my birth chart reading, and then a forecast reading that were crazy, so informative, and I've been using the information from that, in moving my own life forward. But even if you don't have and by the way, at the end, we're going to talk about how you can book a reading with Richard. But even if you don't have the whole big picture chart reading, I guess knowing your big three, like you said, your sun, moon, and rising,
Mhm.
I guess would be helpful and the attributes of that would be helpful in knowing how to handle yourself.
Yeah, to know yourself, and that's relatively easy to find out online. There's many places you can go to for a free birth chart, and that's a great starting point. Is to first of all, I'm still surprised some people don't know about that you're more than just your sun sign, and you are indeed. Everyone is so much more, and we are really multi-dimensional beings, right? And I think the beautiful thing about astrology is that there's so many parts in your chart. It's the whole solar system. And so every planet represents a different function in our energy field. And but to know at least your big three to start off and really embrace that first. So, astrologers will usually introduce themselves that way with the big three.
That's why you asked me that when I ran into you with Cindy once,
Oh,
because
did I?
we both know Cindy. And yeah, and we were started chatting, the three of us, and then that's what you said to me is what are your, I don't think you said big three, but you said what is your sign or what is I forget how you said it, but that's what right away I was like, because I only knew those three at the time. But that's why, because I guess it gives you an idea of what somebody's like.
So much more, like saying we're both Tauruses, by the way, born 2 days apart, which is really cool.
Yeah.
You and I have a sun conjunction. So we have a
Mhm.
strong sun energy, alignment in Taurus energy, very, very strong. But when you told me that you had the moon in Capricorn, that added so much more information for me about knowing you. Oh, okay. And having Libra rising. Oh, that made so much sense and adds, again, so much more information right off.
Yeah. I'd love to know more about all of the signs then for that reason, because you can get to know other people better too. And so then what about the upcoming full moon? Maybe we'll move into the energies that are coming with that and the astrology of that.
Lots going on. Let me share first that maybe some people, and to thank all the viewers for tuning in too, that I think one factor in astrology that more and more people are knowing about is Mercury retrograde,
Yeah.
right? So good news if people have heard that, Mercury is going direct on April the 7th, which is tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
So Mercury going direct, and so our communication patterns are going to be moving forward again. The last 3 weeks have been about going deeper within our own psyche and mind to reflect on all that's been going on internally and externally before then. So I love Mercury retrograde periods for that. That's what they're designed for, is to reflect more on what's going on, review, reflect, redirect, reorganize everything. So now we're ready to move forward for the next many months now with a better kind of inner communication alignment so we can better communicate outwards now. Moving.
Oh. I never thought, see, like every time I talk to you, I never thought of Mercury retrograde or Mercury, what do you say, Mercury turning direct. All I ever think about is communication, like electronic communication difficulties, dropped calls on cell phones and my laptop for work not working properly. And I had to get IT to come in and work on my laptop. I only ever think of it as stuff like that, but not of your own communication. Interesting.
Yeah, unfortunately, people tend to hear that more that, oh my God, get ready for Mercury retrograde. And like, I don't, everything in the universe is designed for a reason, with intelligence, with wisdom. So for me, this is my message out there to the world to get that out there that it's a time to, yeah, wonky things tend to happen because we live in such a fast flowing mercurial world. So Mercury is really a big deal as the god of communication and transportation. And so when it's going retrograde, ideally, it's time for all of us to slow down our communication and take more time to reflect. But since we don't live in a world yet that really honors that, things are still trying to move fast and as flowing as before, but they don't. You know?
No. Does it make any difference? So in our conversations about my astrology, we talked about, because I had never what sign my Mercury is in, which I can't remember now. But does it matter for people to find that out? Does that have anything to do with then Mercury going retrograde and direct?
Yes, good question.
I just thought of that. Yeah.
Questions. So, yeah, so it's really useful to know your birth chart and knowing where Mercury was, what sign it was in, for example, and more advanced, what house it was in. So because that reminds you of your authentic communication style, right? So for me, for example, Mercury is also in Taurus. I think it is for you as
I'm
no.
pretty sure I'm pretty sure it's Aries, which
Okay,
I'm pretty sure is why I'm so loud.
that makes sense.
Yeah. It came back as you were saying that. I was like, oh yeah, that was the one where when you told me what it was in, I knew why I'm so fiery in the way I talk, right?
So Mercury is usually not that far away from your sun sign. That's why I maybe guessed first, but by
Hmm.
knowing you, that's an obvious one. Your voice is definitely more fiery than mine. And so Mercury and Taurus, for me, it is my best speed is slower and calmer.
Yeah,
If I try to get, when I get too excited, which happens, and I don't communicate as well.
yeah. I just get louder.
And then there's Venus too. Did you know Venus was retrograde?
No, I didn't even know that was a thing.
They all go retrograde except for the sun and the moon.
Okay.
And so Venus actually is much more rare. Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year for 3 weeks at a time. So that's pretty, we often get Mercury retrograde, so get used to it. It's not a big deal. Just plan those times to just chill out more.
Yeah, yeah.
So Venus is much more rare. Only once every 2 years. It goes
Oh,
retrograde for 40 days. And
okay.
well, the 40 days thing, I'm sure you're starting to have some associations about the historical magic of 40 days.
Yep.
That has always been a Venus retrograde cycle. So there's something very magical about that. And so it's a great opportunity to reflect and review how we do our Venus, which is how we relate to people. It's like a check-in of like all of our relationships and how they're doing and how we can improve or foster better relationship dynamics during the retrograde.
So for 40 days every couple of years, we tend to go into like a reassessment or thinking about our relationships and where they're going and how we've been treating them, maybe, or like the relationships themselves.
And of course, including our relationship to self, our relationship to spirit, our every relationship. And Venus also rules aesthetics and beauty, and so it's a great time to review that too. I bought a whole bunch of new self-care products during the Venus retrograde, and I've just been using them and really enjoying them. So that's another Venus energy.
Ever cool. So what period this year was the Venus retrograde?
So I mentioned it because it's ending on April the 12th. So in just in a few days, so we're nearing the end of the 40-day cycle. It began on March the 1st, ends on April the 12th.
So the month of March. So you can reflect on whether like later I'm gonna go, oh yeah, okay, that's why. Like whatever I was thinking about and doing throughout the month of March, really, and just into April. Interesting. And so you become more reflective about it, and then when it goes direct and you come out of it, what?
We can move again forward faster again with new insights about our relationships and how we want to show up in the world in our relationships, how to make them better, and actually reaching out, connecting better, and being conscious, more conscious of the ways we want to relate moving forward, reevaluating who we maybe don't want to relate to as much, who we
Yeah,
don't vibe with, who do we vibe with, who do we want to develop deeper relationships with.
I see. Very cool.
Collaborations like what we're doing.
Pardon?
Collaborations like what we're doing.
Yes. Okay. Oh, and then the idea for this came during this reflective period.
Of Mercury and Venus both.
Oh yeah.
Communication and relating. So it's actually relatively rare that they're both retrograde at the same time. So, it has been a very, for most people, unconscious kind of, understanding of this. But more people really learn about these cycles and patterns, we can embrace them more. And I love that. So the Venus retrograde cycle, a time to review all our relationships, recalibrate, our energies and move forward. And that's actually a lovely segue to the full moon in Libra, because
Hmm.
Venus is the planet that rules Libra.
Oh,
And what's really cool about April the 12th, when we have the next full moon in Libra, that's the day that also Venus goes direct. And so starting April the 12th, there's a lovely new kind of awakening of our inner Venus more and more to express that. Our love, our beauty, our connections, our relationships more and more moving
because
forward.
it's going direct.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how does the full moon in Libra?
Shall we show the chart?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, so we're seeing if maybe for some people it's the first time they ever see an astrological chart, perhaps. So we'll just go really, really slow here and just show the basics. So this is, by the way, the birth chart, any chart is a map of all the positions of the planets at any specific time and place. So here is a birth chart of April the 12th, and where the sun will be, the red circle is the sun shining at 23 degrees of Aries specifically. It will be on that degree. And the full moon will be at 23 degrees of Libra, always opposite. So a full moon is always when the sun and the moon are opposite in the sky. And I was sharing this a while ago with you, the cool visual of like when the sun is setting, the full moon will rise opposite in the sky. So you can really see
Mhm.
that if you're looking at that, at the sky that day, which is really cool to see. And that's beautiful astrology out there in the sky, visible for everyone to see. So, we're in Aries season right now. And so the sign of leadership, of initiative, of like moving forward. And Colin, you've been really doing that, moving forward with new adventures, and which is awesome. It's all about courage to move through, right? And so with courage, being courageous doesn't mean that we don't feel fear. We feel the fear and we face it and we rise above and we still move forward. And that's the magic of Aries, to inspire us to move forward, There's a lot of energy there. And even just when I said that, I felt the fire of Aries and the warrior and the leader to really, oh, let's do this.
Yeah.
So
And I felt like when you told me and when you posted about the new moon in Aries and that, and then you told me, I forget now exactly what you said about, because I asked you, well, how does that affect my own chart? And whatever you said about it for my chart was what made me launch my Patreon. Like I've been sitting on it for a while, like for months and months and months. And it just went like, okay, well, then I just need to do it. Like it gave me the courage to recognize the courage rising in me, right? And to believe it.
yeah, so way to go, Colleen. That's awesome.
And then the thing about it though, so I think because I listened to that, my Patreon immediately upon launching, thank you everyone, by the way, like just took off. I got really lots of people joining it and the chatter in the chat and that, like it had a really fast launch. And I think it's because I paid attention to doing it right at the right time,
Hmm.
So that's the walking the talk with the astrology information that I'm talking about.
You did it. You really embraced astrology. You worked with it in a brilliant way, and you have seen the results from really embracing the potentials of astrology and really seizing the moment. Striking while the iron is hot actually is a great metaphor for Aries because it's a very hot fire sign.
Right.
So
Yeah, yeah.
metaphorically, even more apt. And the new moon in Aries that was last weekend, and it's always the really strongest sprout of new kind of initiatives of the whole year, really.
See?
Yeah. So
You said something like that to me. It was like, okay, it's time to do the new initiative then. Yeah. Okay, so back to this chart.
you were so ready. So, and this is where I'm going to now solve the mystery. I kept calling it suspense about something that was cool about this full moon in connection to her chart. So the full moon will be specifically at 23 degrees of Libra opposite the sun. And again, Libra, it connects to Venus energetically because Venus, the planet of love, beauty, harmony, connection, relationship, and also before I talk about Libra, why is Venus, why does Venus mean that? So we look at astronomy to understand astrology a lot of times. So Venus is the brightest planet in the sky. It's
Mhm.
so bright and beautiful. Some people understand that's Venus, but with the first star, bright star you see close to the horizon, that's Venus, that
Right.
beautiful cosmic pearl. And Venus actually is the closest planet to the Earth. So there's the relationship. It's like I always picture Venus hugging Earth in space, you know?
Ever cool. I love it.
I love the connection there from just Venus's proximity to the Earth.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing is like when you look at the orbits of the planets, usually they're all elliptical. They're not circles. Venus is the one that has an almost perfect circular orbit around the Earth,
Oh,
around the sun, sorry.
the sun. Yeah.
So it's very smooth. And so that smoothness is part of Venus magic and the harmony of that too. And that's why Libran people have that, and that this is the opportunity at this full moon, which we feel for a few days before the full moon and a few days after the full moon to really embrace this Libra energy of connection, relationship, partnership, all those Venus themes we already talked about. How can I embrace better, smoother, harmonious relationships and authentic ones too, that really honor who I am and what I value? Coming back to the Aries, like, leading, initiating relationships in new ways. And so 23 degrees of Libra is Colleen's rising sign degree exactly.
Oh,
So you were born, Colleen, at 23 degrees of Libra. And so this full moon will be exactly on your ascendant where the sun was rising, and the sun at 23 degrees of Aries will be exactly on your seventh house cusp here over here in your chart, which I'll show you in a while. So the sun and the moon are going to be very wired strongly to your chart in a very significant way.
oh, ever cool. Okay.
And it's going to, really, it's kind of very symbolic and of these amazing new connections you're making with many people on YouTube and Patreon.
Ever cool. Oh, I love it. See? Like as if that is connected like that. Wow.
Yeah, so there's lots going on. That's just the sun and the moon. We can go deeper if you want to about the full moon chart.
Yeah, sure.
So, okay, so now going into deeper territory, the sun will be conjunct. You see, we say conjunct or aligned because the same degree of the zodiac, 23 degrees. And this symbol here, this is new for most people. This is Chiron.
Ah.
Chiron. And so the symbolism of Chiron will be very, very strong in this full moon chart, as well as the one just up here. It looks like it's further away, but it's really close. And this is Eris, Eris. So the energy of Eris as well as Chiron will be strong. And so Eris, I think this is new for you, eh, Colleen?
Yes, I've never heard of Eris, like never even heard the word.
You're gonna love it. Eris in mythology is the sister of Mars. Okay, Mars is well known as the symbol of the cosmic warrior,
Yep.
right? And so is Eris, but it's the feminine warrior
Oh,
of Mars. And I would say, yeah, and most astrologers would say she's even more badass than Mars.
of course she is.
Yeah, she's fierce, she's strong, very strong. She's all about justice and equality for everyone. And quickly in the mythology, there was this wedding on Mount Olympus that she was not invited to because she was known as being a very feisty energy. And so when she found out, she was not very happy about that, and she gave a gift of a golden apple to the fairest woman goddess of all. That started a war. There was competition between the goddesses of who's the most beautiful one. So it's that way, and then they ended up starting the Trojan War. That's the start of it.
No way. Wow.
The sense of justice, there's something not right. So she is not afraid to like do something to reclaim justice and balance in energy. And so that's a very, very strong archetype. And by the way, Aries was discovered only in 2005, 2006,
Oh,
which is one of the most modern dwarf planets out there, very, very far away. Actually, the discovery of Eris, we're going off on a tangent here, but it's interesting.
okay.
It redefined the solar system. It was the discovery of Eris in 2005, 2006. At first, it was called Planet X.
Ah.
Heard about that way back when in the early 2000s?
Is this when Pluto got demoted?
And then what happened was astronomers decided to reclassify the solar system, set new parameters, and so Pluto was declassified as a planet and a dwarf planet like Eris.
And like people had feelings about that.
Oh yeah, I did.
Did you?
Pluto, by the way, in astrology, nothing has changed. Pluto is still a very, very significant
Um,
energy in astrology, but just reclassified in astronomy.
got it. So that's the same time as when Eris was discovered.
Yeah. And
Oh.
Pluto, takes 248 years to go around the sun, and now is the known limit of our solar system. Eris has doubled the size of our solar system. 500
Oh.
years it takes Eris to go around the sun. So we are expanding our solar system, more and more consciously, just like we are expanding our consciousness too,
Mhm.
same
We're
time.
just expanding our awareness in
In
all ways.
every way, yeah.
Interesting. I love this. Okay, keep going.
My pleasure to continue. So Aries, 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 very, very strong in the Aries too. So
Mhm.
Aries will be in Aries for years and years and years, most of our lifetimes. So because it has had such a long orbit, right? And so the fact that Aries is in Aries, the sign of the leader, of the warrior, and the pioneer, really talks about these times we're in, that we accepted to be incarnated into at these times to really expand our consciousness in brave new ways, to really embody the strong, confident, courageous leader to reclaim our divine essence more and more.
Nice.
A lot of us, spiritual people, just to use a simple term,
Yeah.
we've been kind of afraid to really come out and really be our true selves.
No, we don't never use our last name on anything to do with our spiritual life. So do you mean that this is going to encourage me to, oh,
Everyone, yeah, and you and everyone more and more to really come out and reclaim who we really are and why we're here, and our light, our power, our magic, our gifts more and more.
It's because, of course, as you say this, I'm thinking about things that are going on for me. I mean, any viewers probably are doing that too. And like we just had a conversation about whether we were going to post this on your Facebook because, you know, there's people from my work and stuff on your Facebook, your astrology Facebook. And so I was like, I had to think about it, you know, because we're going to post my woo woo YouTube channel on public, and I had to think about it. And then it was like, no, it's time. I really felt like it's time to do that. Like, stop it. The part of me that was saying no needs a hug, you know? And so I feel that what you just said.
Yeah, and so because this is so wired strongly calling in your own specific chart,
Oh, yeah, right.
you're really feeling this very strongly. Yeah. So
Love.
that's Eris in the sun, and the other symbol is Chiron. And you Chiron, Colleen, you're a bit familiar with Chiron, but most people aren't, and so it's worth the time to explore
Mhm.
Chiron. He's one of the modern ones as well, too, discovered in 1977.
Oh,
Okay, so we're in the 70s, not long after the 60s, which was a big awakening for the world in a really significant way. In the 70s, Chiron represents the healing. It's the symbol for deep soul healing. And, in the 70s, I think was really the start of the whole self-help movement.
oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think and then in the 70s and 80s and 90s, how many books were all about self-help, self-development, love and healing. And so that's the magic of Chiron. And it looks like a key. So it's the key to understand something very profound and deep about our own healing journey. I often hear myself say that Chiron reminds us that a huge part of the human journey is a healing journey.
Right.
So the whole healing archetype is very strongly wired into this full moon time, So, it's a good time to really be extra loving with ourselves if things come up in our awareness that just are ready to be loved, healed, honored, accepted, acknowledged more within ourselves. Again, back to the light workers here, how we've been tentative for so long. It's our time to really reclaim this authentic part of us, to be brave and strong and not be afraid of our own energy.
Interesting, because you're talking about the focus being on healing, and we talked a lot on the Out of This World channel, and on like Cindy Angels talk a lot about healing karma by their definition, right? Which is stuff that you came here to, that you didn't finish in past lives. It's not punishment and reward. It's things that you didn't finish in past lives that you like planned to come here and finish in this lifetime, because it's such a pivotal lifetime, because we're all here to help with the awakening, right? And so we're doing all this massive healing this lifetime of all this different karma that we're going through, leading up to what we're all hoping is pretty soon, right? The mass awakening and the great awakenings. And I don't know, I just saw a connection there. Like so in this full moon, because like we're all hoping is it this month? Could it be next month? Can I awaken now? Can we have the ascension? So like that sounds like that full moon brings a focus onto this healing that we're doing, right?
Yes, 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 yes. And so, this is a really old kind of like a story, of like, and it's just time more and more and more. Like this is not the only time that Chiron is wired strongly into a new moon or a full moon, but it is, and it's pretty rare that it's aligned up with Eris. So that's very unique to this full moon too. So the empowerment of this, the healing empowerment to reclaim ourselves in a whole new way and to let go of the victim consciousness mentality that has been with us for a long time. That's
Ooh,
very deep, isn't it?
yes.
And so from victim consciousness to empowerment is a really big, big theme here.
Love it.
One of the ways that we can do that is by connecting, partnering, relating, collaborating with people that we really value and love and trust the most. That's how we'll move forward, by building these lovely connections. And there's something else too that I came across, which is a lovely, lovely quote here. And let me see if I can find it. Okay, there it is. This is something I can explain later on too, but I don't think it's necessary. But this is a quote that connects to this energy here. An unusually strong spiritual awakening activated by serious seekers who then become the seeds of a general evolutionary leap. So that's
Wow.
the message that came through about this specific degree here of 23 degrees of Libra.
It's what I just said about wanting to do your healing to get through to bring on the awakening, you know? So people doing this healing, right, that we're talking about with Chiron and Eris, and having a strong awakening and then being part of bringing forth big change.
A huge evolutionary leap. So that was so cool. And that was specific to this degree of Libra here, because we can do a deep dive into every specific degree of the zodiac.
So watch out. There could be some big healing happening, big awakening happening.
Ah,
Maybe
you.
like this is going to be the video before the Great Awakening.
Yeah, let's intend for that. So the theme, of connecting, of collaborating is really, really strong and just so cool that we are doing our first official collaboration in this window of energy.
Yeah.
Can I share a little bit more about this chart?
Yeah. Of
Okay,
course.
we've been talking about this, and I write also, every new moon and full moon, I write articles called Star Notes, and they're on my website, richardmaletteastrology.com, also on Facebook. And so every astrologer has been talking about Neptune, that has just in the last, um, couple of weeks, really changed signs for the first time since 2011. So that's a pretty big deal. Neptune is a planet of spirituality, and that's why for our community, it's even more important. Neptune, since the reclassification, Neptune is now the last planet in our solar system.
Oh,
So now I like that because Neptune really represents the gateway between our solar system and the rest of the universe.
ooh.
It's like the window or the portal through which we connect with all that is.
Okay.
And so it was in Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac. And Neptune rules Pisces.
Oh,
I love that association because Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac and Neptune being the last planet, right? It makes sense, that connection.
yeah, for sure.
And so the last, 14, 15 years has been with Neptune and Pisces being very, very strong in that connection, spiritual renaissance for many people on the world,
Oh, yeah.
right? And so now, as of just a few days ago, March 29th or March 30th, I think it was, Neptune has entered a new sign for the next 14, 15 years.
What sign?
Aries.
Oh,
This is Aries, and so it's embarking upon a brand new, as Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So we're making a massive shift from the end of a cycle to a beginning of a new.
yeah. I
So
hear this.
we're all feeling it, right? I think you got a strong feeling there too, and so did
Well,
I.
yeah. You're so good at bringing it together. So, because I don't know why, I don't know if it's something you told me or if it's my own perception or whatever, but Aries, I always I always go like this with Aries, like it's like surging, it's like strong, it's forward, it's let's go, let's do this. And I'm not on the wrong track, right? I'm right. And so Neptune, okay, so the Neptune, which is the planet that is the gateway to all that is, just moved from, but what, just, and what would Pisces, and if Aries is let's go, let's do this, what's Pisces?
Okay, in a nutshell, Pisces in 4 words: surrender, faith, trust, and flow.
So it moved from years of everybody having spiritual awakenings, like, because those of us who've been doing it for you, it's about 25, I think, and it's about 30 years for me, have definitely seen a surge. If I thought about it, maybe it's since 2011, of just more and more. All of a sudden, we're not so alone, right? More and more and more and more and more people just, and all levels of awakening, from full on awakening, becoming fully spiritual people, all the way to like, I think maybe things happen for a reason, different levels of awakening. But that's been going on in a more gentle way. And then now this gateway moves into Aries, which is like, let's go. I'm
Yes.
back on like the awakening's coming, because we know like it's been predicted to be coming this year.
Yeah, I see it as a
Oh,
process, and we're in it, and but this is really, really radical. The shift, the people are using the words great shift as well too,
yeah.
awakening. So this shift from Neptune and from Pisces, the last sign, the endings of the cycle, into beginnings
To a beginning.
is really, so beautifully symbolic of this great awakening and great shift. And, to be really braver, Aries, stronger, more courageous with our spirituality. Yeah.
Right.
I'll share a couple of more of my favorite expressions for this, the words brave heart, having a brave heart, really leading with our brave heart and feeling that bravery, that strength in our heart space, that love, and also the sacred warrior, the spiritual warrior, right? To really lead with love and the confidence of that, the courage of that more and more. So yeah, it feels very exciting. This one here, I wanted to talk about Neptune changing signs because that's beyond this full moon. It's a really big shift of the ages. So, and it's right there. And this is really recent. And by coming back to collaboration, the full moon in Libra, and just the how kind of wonderful and magic it was that we've been connecting, and we do our first collaboration just before a full moon in Libra, the sign of partnership and connection and relationship, and so that's so wonderful.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how can the viewers then take all of this information to, how will we sum up then? And I don't mean you have to do it in 4 words. Like this full moon on the 12th, the full moon in Libra, how do the viewers just summarize all of that? Because that was a lot of information, and focus on or integrate this into their walking the talk.
Beautiful. Yes, thank you. Every full moon in Libra is always an opportunity to really dive deep into the magic of Libra, generally speaking. You don't have to know your birth chart, and when you surrender to it and you embrace it, you will flow into the right, perfect ways for you to work with the energy of the full moon in Libra as a sign of balance and harmony, right? So really embrace more, welcome more grace, more harmony, more peace, more balance in your life. And so, you can do a little reflection. Where in my life am I not in balance? Am I not?
Mm-hmm.
And what actions can you initiate to help you recalibrate your energies, your body, your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit, to come back into a greater harmony, greater alignment?
And then also, I guess you can use those energies in a way of like almost like my big study is law of attraction. And if you believe it, it is. So if you have been in a phase of your life where there has not been so much harmony, just also knowing that this is when harmony can start just coming in a little more, like whatever it is that's going on might start settling or resolving now. And if you believe that, you can let that happen, right? Like you can help that happen by believing that it's going to happen.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Great message. And Libra and Venus is also about love and beauty too. So initiating something to make yourself feel better, about yourself and like love yourself more too. And just send love energy to yourself and love energies to all of your relationships.
Wow.
And that's the
So,
healing magic that we spoke about, the healing magic by
mhm.
actually sending love to everyone, including ourselves.
There's a couple of just the couple of last couple of videos that I've posted have been Big Bertha leading through exercises to send love out to others. There's one of sending love to world leaders. There's one to the earth, you know, so like you can, I don't mean that you have to watch the video. You can go back and review them, but just know that it might be a really good time for doing that, right?
Yes, exactly, because the magic of Libra will be particularly strong. So the love energy will be very, very strong. And and our connections with people will be stronger. So the ability to actually flow more love will be stronger. And
Love it.
one more thing too, you know, about balance and harmony, and you know, because I'm doing qigong more and more, and one of the positions of qigong is called heaven and earth, and you got one hand, you know, connecting with the sky, and one hand down here. So really feeling that perfect balance point between being physical and spiritual, really embracing that more and more harmoniously. And also one more that we can play with too, and then you know you can see some more, is the balance between our masculine and our feminine energy.
Mm.
Everyone has a divine masculine and divine feminine that we can integrate more and more.
And do these energies exacerbate that, or do you just mean in general?
In general, but I think again, the full moon in Libra highlights Libran themes. And so I think the
Everything.
integration of our inner feminine, our inner masculine, you know, our yin and yang, you know, to really integrate that more consciously and harmoniously with another opportunity, a gift for this full moon.
I love it. Very cool. Do you have anything else to add, or what else should we talk about?
Do you want to go to your moon, your chart quickly?
Sure.
Okay. So let's do that and kind of anchor the concepts we spoke about a while ago. And to really see how this full moon will be in your chart. Do you see your chart?
I do. I'm actually going to add at this point. So I just want to talk about. I'm going to put links in the description to the video and probably along the bottom of this video to Richard's. How would they book a reading with you? Because you will do readings on Zoom, right? Or
Yeah.
you will also send a recorded reading, but you'll do an interactive meeting on Zoom and do a reading for them. And how do they book that?
Thank you, Colleen. Yeah, exactly like this. I do it all often. So through my website, richardmaletteastrology.com, and my email, richard.malette8@gmail.com. So our Facebook, Richard N. Malette on Facebook, or even Richard Malette Astrology on Facebook as well too.
Yes.
Those
Yeah.
ways.
Okay. So they can book through any of those ways, because so this is my birth chart, and I just had two life-changing readings with Richard. Like the first one was, well, we kind of muddled them up a little bit, but they were about a month apart, and there was a full birth chart reading, right? And then a destiny reading or forecast reading. And I mean, like I've known my sun, moon, and rising for a long time, but these readings, like you're so tapped in, Richard. Like the readings and the way that you interpret the information, like so the forecast reading did a lot for me, like with improving my YouTube channel and launching the Patreon and becoming more of the spiritual Colleen than the corporate Colleen. just put a little shift on that. But then also just the birth chart reading in general. There are things about me and my personality and just things that have the way my life has gone. My life has been great, like don't get me wrong, but the way my life has gone, that the reading put a lot of respect on, like stuff that maybe this whole loud thing, like this passionate thing that I have going on, it can be a source of embarrassment, right? Like it can be a source of self-reflection of like, oh, I was too loud, or I talked too much, or sometimes getting criticized like that. Well, when we looked at my chart, I mean, come on, it's just in there. It's just in my chart. But what that does is lets you embrace that then. It doesn't mean I have to turn into a boor, but it just means that I can embrace it and make decide that it's been given to me for some kind of good use. And so if you want a really super intuitive reading, like, you can book a Zoom reading with Richard. So I'll stop talking now and we can talk about whatever you wanted to tell me about my chart now.
Thank you so much, Colleen. It is a very healing experience. It's a very soul healing experience. It did for me. It changed my life. It's like completely. It enriched my life in such a beautiful way. It's so comforting and validating, and comforting to really really see ourselves in this divine light, because this is divine light. I often call your chart your divine guidance system.
Yeah, like, this is what was set up when I came in. This isn't just a 1 month, prediction or something. Like, the birth chart reading, right, is what was set up when you came in to the world.
It's not random, your soul programmed all of this stuff. Here's a cute little story that I don't think I shared this with you. Before incarnating, I see our souls sitting around a cosmic coffee table with our angels and guides and the planets, and we discuss, how our past lives was, and like what we want to create and orchestrate moving forward to evolve and grow. And we together program this chart you did with your guides and with the universe for your best life this lifetime
I
with
love it.
this navigation here.
Very cool.
And so there is your 23 degrees of Libra rising, exactly where the full moon will be on April the 12th, right? Conjunct your ascendant. So you're going to really, well, you already are feeling that the magic of this full moon very, very strongly on your rising sign. So the sign that was rising on the horizon when you were born. So your natural personality is just going to glow from this full moon.
Because the way I sum it up, it's Cindy gave me the actual line, but you validated it, is that your rising is how you present to the world, right? How I present myself to the world.
How you present yourself to the world, what we first see in Colleen, and that's that charming Libran energy, of able to relate it to people. You smile so easily all the time. It's very Libran. And again, it's the sign of relationship. And in all that you do, you relate to people all of the time.
Yeah.
And
And
that
so there's a light shining on that right now, right? A spotlight on that. Cool.
right, even more with this full moon.
Mhm.
And partnering, the theme of partnering is all over your chart, because your sun is conjunct Venus as well too. So you're very strong in the Venus energy. So although we spoke about Venus a moment ago, a while ago, it's just very, very strong in you because it's conjunct the sun. So anybody who has the sun conjunct Venus, like Colleen, would feel Venusian energies very strongly, and to partner with people more and more. The theme of relationships has always been very strong in your life. And you're just now expressing it in a whole new way.
Right. Yes. That's even true about stuff I don't want to talk about on YouTube. Yes, for sure. And it's also no surprise, though, if Venus, the planet of love, right, or the goddess of love, right, is right conjunct my sun, like, back to again what Big Bertha is doing through me, sending
Right.
love energy through me, and that when we were sitting around the coffee table, so that coffee table before I incarnated was like me and Big Bertha and Simon and all the any other entities that were working with me, and we also decided that I was that sorry, I lost my train of thought a little bit, but that was going to be set up, and I would come in from the place in all that is where all love energy is stored. Like, I came from that home in all that is, so that when you're just talking to me or in a video with me or whatever, they said that there's love energy just emitting from anybody who came from that home, not like just me. But I see that set up astrologically too, with those being right beside each other.
Yeah. So, Venus is a planet of love. You're very strongly wired energetically to the
Cool.
love. So there's that, Um, and also, I'm going to throw in, can you see the number 7 here?
Yep.
I'm wondering if that's clear. So this is the seventh house, where there's these 12 divisions of the sky that we call houses. They're very important. life arenas, areas of life. And the seventh house is the house of relationship. So again, for a third reason, the theme of relationship and connecting and partnering is very, very strong in your chart. And this is where you becoming a channeler now, you always had the gift, of channeling because it's really embracing a relationship with Big Bertha, and like, so you're so wired for it. You have you've engineered as an architect and engineer of your chart, this energy to be able to flow and connect with Big Bertha and with cosmic energy and to flow love energy. It's just, you're wired for it. So that's really wanted to really emphasize that so you understand that. And people who know you and love you and follow you can really, oh, okay, that's the cosmic wiring that really facilitates you doing what you're doing now. Two more things, and then
Sure.
we can wrap it up. Is that your moon, and we forgot to talk about your moon.
Oh,
Very,
yeah.
very important. So the moon is the gateway to our emotional intelligence, our emotional instincts, what nurtures us, what feeds us, and how we nurture and feed others too. Capricorn energy, which is very strong. It's very, very, very strong. It's like the architect, of the zodiac in some ways, the captain, the sign of authority and responsibility. So it's very, very strong. So yes, the love energy is very, very strong, but also this groundedness, down to earth. It's an earthy sign, and earth element overall is the strongest element in your chart, Colleen. So you are really down to earth. You're so real and relatable and keeping things practical, useful, very, very strong. And that's your connection to nature and the earth, very strong too.
Mhm. Yep.
The
And
last
that
thing,
is a side of me too, right? Like the Capricorn. I mean, there's definitely that side. People on here would know it less, but the people who work with me sure do. But like the Capricorn, the leader, the organizer, the person in charge, but with a lot of integrity, right?
integrity,
Not
yes.
not just a power trip leading, you know?
And that's high road of Capricorn to be able to handle a lot of responsibility and authority. You have to be aligned in your integrity.
Hmm. And
And
so a moon sign is, so if the rising sign is how I present to the world, am I right that a moon sign is what I need to feel like I'm contributing?
yep, and it is your emotional instincts.
Oh, okay.
Well, when we really follow our instincts, we're following our moon energy.
Cool.
So, which is opposite of mine. Mine is in Cancer, so the instinct is to be always a gentle, supportive person. So that's my go-to instinct. But I have Capricorn rising on my in.
Right.
So, and the end, I think I told you this, Colleen, but people will enjoy this too. Why we connect so well for many reasons. My rising sign is at 22 degrees of Capricorn.
Right.
Very strong, like the same degree. And also my sun is like 3 degrees of Taurus. So it's right close to your sun and right close to your Venus too. So very close energy there astrologically.
So we're a lot alike, but then there's a different twist to it because of the difference between the rising and the moon, right? Like that it's your rising and my moon because we're different, but the
Yeah,
same.
very similar, but I have more Cancer and you have more Libra and more Capricorn. Yeah, that's the big
Which
difference.
like which like viewers would be able to see by the tones of our voice. Like because you're definitely a softer, gentler. I feel like if there was a crisis situation, I would be taking charge, like, get this, do that. We need to do this, do that. And you'd be going, it's okay. Everybody's going to be fine. We need to exit out this door. And
Yeah.
I'm like slamming the door open.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a lot in one session. So we covered.
Hmm.
Do you have any last questions or comments?
I do not. I do not. This has been amazing. And yeah, it's a lot to digest too. You're right. So, well, I do believe this is going to be a series. If you would do me the honor of coming back and doing this again for future videos. We'll hear in the comments. I don't know if you've seen the comments on my videos. We've got a whole community in the comments, and now a bunch of you have come over and formed a community on my Patreon as well. So I can't wait to hear all of your thoughts on everything that Richard has shared with us, you know, and whether you would like to see this being a series of how to walk the talk with astrology. So thanks so much for joining me, Richard. This has been amazing.
It's been wonderful. So much fun. Thank you very much yeah, and I'm so open to doing this again.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks everyone. We'll see you soon.